I think in 2016, from 2014 going to 2016, I was part and parcel of the team that worked on the Nairobi Integrated Urban Master Plan. I was in the social pillar and then we'll sit in the plenary for a lot of it, of what is called New Plan today. And a lot of the problems we have around transport, if you're going to have a working city, it must actually have transport that is affordable besides housing and all the other aspects. Green Park, of course, was going to fail. Because as it is, it's one thing that, you know, when the new master plan for Nairobi was actually passed, after very serious input from JICA, actually JICA gave us a lot of support to build on that. They gave us a lot of money. That is money that Mayor Ladwa then had actually raised. The master plan we have today was actually fundraised for and partly pushed through when Ladwa was the mayor. So we then did a master plan that everybody else admires. Actually, the Nairobi Master Plan is like the Constitution 2010. Literally everybody wants to look at that particular master plan. What we have had has been quite sad because successive governments, where they do not see money, they have really been slow on a data-driven master plan like the Nairobi New Plan. If you were to go to, and again, allow me to use the word sadly, unfortunately, if you were to go to our neighbors in the south, that is Tanzania, we do not have a single bus terminus that looks like the original bus terminus. You will go to a place like Iringa, that is like somewhere in Nyeri, where you find the local bus terminus. If you compared Green Park to the bus terminus in Iringa, Green Park looks like a cowshed. You cannot evacuate people from, you know, a lot of us are coming from the CBD. How do you then get people from Green Park to the CBD? There is no flyover. How are you going to get a flyover, either underground Uhuru Highway or over the expressway? It's impossible. We've trialed. Mark was saying that people don't like it, or rather a new administration is not following through with the others. Even the previous administration trialed. We tried to put Matatu there to trial and see how it works out. It's failed. But let me tell you some of the things when we talk about policy failures. First of all, we did a master plan. Very good. Everybody, whatever you see in the city today, is actually, somebody just walks into the master plan. The way I saw a number of guys walking into Vision 2030 document, picking a few projects, then running with them as their own. So it was agreed that for Nairobi, if you're going to have ease of movement to decongest Nairobi, you need a bus after every 10 minutes. That in and of itself is actually congesting the city. So we agreed that the best way to improve mobility in Nairobi was largely, for the passenger bit of it, is to bring the trains into the CBD. Then somebody actually gave us money. The Japanese gave us money, about 15 billion shillings, to do a light rail that gets into the city. They identified even a place in Upper Hill where there would be a bus station. They agreed that the whole of Tomboya, the first line, would be done away with. Money was available. Do away with the Menti House so that a train can come in the CBD. One train can do away with 900 matatus. But do you know what happened? When the Jubilee administration came in, they then came up with Namata. Namata wants to discuss transport, but they don't want to talk about land use. You cannot talk about transport without talking about land use. So for the longest time, then Namata just became an extension of the Matatu cartel that have refused to make the public transport work. So we are at a place where, in this particular country, our public transportation system is bad. I don't know whether you've been to Dar es Salaam recently. If you looked at the John Pombe Magufuli main bus terminal in Dar es Salaam, there is not even a bad, even our SGR. The closest that comes to that is the SGR bit of it, the terminal in Nairobi. But everything else in this country looks like a cowshed. Just go around, I'm talking about bus terminals. It's so bad. Tanzanians might not have as good roads as the ones we have. They are still relatively narrower. But their bus stations and terminals are actually good. The passenger, and you know, we are the big brothers in the region, right? We have refused order. I think the closest I've seen a better bus terminal is what Oparanya built in Mumias. And people don't like to lose it, to use it so much. So I think it's not just a matter of following through policies, but also following through data. Like, for example, the new plan we have in Nairobi was data-driven. There is even financing for that. But guys in Karen refuse that a train cannot go through their neighborhood, for example. There is a place identified in Upper Hill where trains can turn. If you put a train on Kenyatta Avenue, it can work. So we have the solutions. What we do not have is political goodwill to follow through.
Right.
And it is so sad that we can use so much money. Like we put 1.5 billion shillings in building the Nairobi Integrated Urban Masterplan. But now we have the current city secretary, county secretary, is actually a former lead planner in that particular bit of it. So I am hoping that the new county secretary will actually pick up this and try to make Governor Sakaja understand that we have got a plan, a long one for 30 years, and that if you use that, we used the best practices. We benchmarked with Tokyo, literally everywhere. Today, people are coming to Kenya to benchmark with the Nairobi Urban Master Plan. But does Nairobi look like it's benefiting from that? No. We are guys who are doing everything. There are rivers across the city that have been built on, like for example, the river that comes from Uhuru Highway, goes through City Hall, by the way, down the Supreme Court, Kencom, all the way. That river, one of these fine days, if it rains well, it comes up. All those things are there. We know them. We have got the data. But then the political class that comes in, no one is really willing to talk to them. And I think the new county secretary can sit down the governor and just orient the governor around that. The governor means well, but the City Park thing is one of those things that for me was a jackpot justification. It wasn't going to work. 250 million shillings is not in those mabati, carved mabatis and a little bit of cement that is actually there. It doesn't make sense.
All right.